ready, go cat go. Ooh yeah, be telling you something you surely know. Ooh yeah, born in a land where we wave them high, and we got blue angels climbing in the sky. I'm the luckiest guy in America. I'm the luckiest man born in America.
Well, I got me a guy named Johnny B. Good.
Ooh, yeah.
Well,
Welcome to Unaffordable America, Connecticut. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm unaffording living a little bit. So we're moving ahead. This is our third show, by the way.
Yeah.
And it's chugging along quite nicely. Hope you like all the segments. We have an important guest every week. We have a music segment. We have a commentary segment. We have a man on the street segment. It's all good fun.
It's great, and it's really coming along very well as we...
Swimmingly, they call it.
Swimmingly well.
Yeah, swimmingly.
So we have a great show for you today. We are going to be joined by Carol Platt-Liebau, who is the president of the Yankee Institute for Public Policy. And Carol is a warrior for Connecticut affordability and to take the jackboot of government off of everyone's throats to try to find reasonable, affordable, efficient solutions for public policy.
Right.
So we have a really good show for you today, and I'm looking forward to it. But you want to kick it off with a tune?
All right. This is the Little House Band segment of the show. And we're in one part of the barn. The band is over there. Enjoy the song.
You would send me flowers, call me on the telephone. That's the way you won my heart. Get me out to dinner. I never ever felt alone. That's the way you won my heart. Help me start a fire. You can be the spark. I'm just waiting in the dark. Once I drew you pictures, you would bring me tea. That's the way you won my heart. Sew these seams together. May we never part. Time for vows, a brand new start. You kissed me in the morning, and then again at 3. That's the way you won my heart. That's the way you won my heart. That's the way you won my heart.
That's it.
So that was a nice, fun segment. Let's see. We're going to do the guest segment next. And
That's right.
You're in charge of the guest segment. So tell us about Carol.
Oh, well, today's featured guest on Unaffordable America, with a focus on Connecticut, is the president of the Yankee Institute for Public Policy, Carol Platt-Liebau, a longtime friend of mine and a fierce political activist and warrior for affordability in Connecticut.
Sounds good to me.
Let's bring her
look at
on.
her. Yeah.
All right, here's Carol. thank you so much for joining us. Having the president of the Yankee Institute as my dear friend and colleague here in the fight to make Connecticut more affordable is dear to my heart. So welcome to this show. And if you could, can you bring us back to where you kind of came into the Connecticut debacle and mess, and how you kind of discovered it and figured out what was going on, and then came into Yankee and all that. Give us a little synopsis, an overview, Carol, please.
Well, I've lived in Connecticut since October of 2011. And it only dawned on me very slowly because, of course, growing up, we all knew of Connecticut as this wonderful state, really the most prosperous state in the entire Northeast. Mm-hmm. And so as I spent more time here as a new resident, it really was difficult to believe that in so many ways, Connecticut was being surpassed by what all of us had once thought of as Taxachusetts. And that there were so many problems, this disparity in pay between the public and private sector. As you know, Yankee Institute has documented first in 2015 and now again, most recently, that on average, the public sector earns about 28% more in total compensation than the private sector. People who are doing the same work with the same skills, the same education, the same experience. And so a lot of these things, just the mismanagement, really took me by surprise, and the harm it causes to just regular people and the pressing need for reform. And so that's really how I became involved at Yankee. And it's been an honor to be part of such a tenacious team that really is able to do so much for holding the line against big government and overtaxation and the incursions on the freedom of regular people.
Mm-hmm. And if you would also explain to the people watching this show, what is the mission of Yankee Institute, and what is it you folks do out there for the public?
Sure. At Yankee Institute, our goal is to ensure that everyone in Connecticut is free to succeed, however he or she defines success. Whether success is being able to build a gigantic company or simply being able to stay in our state and watch your children or grandchildren grow up, or just cultivating a vegetable garden. Whatever it means to you, you should be able to do it without being overtaxed, overregulated, and micromanaged to death by a government that takes too much and intrudes too much. We publish policy research that is sometimes done in-house, and then sometimes we also contract with leading scholars on the various issues to make sure that our legislators who don't necessarily have access to that information, that legislators are able to have available to them the information they need to make informed decisions. Whether or not they choose wisely is a different question. We also go to the Capitol and talk directly to the legislators about, our point of view on things, which is definitely a pro-taxpayer, a pro-free enterprise point of view. We run campaigns of influence and persuasion to try and educate people on the pressing issues confronting our state. And then, of course, we have a very important independent investigative journalism arm, which is, we think, one of the most important things we do. We cover stories that wouldn't necessarily otherwise be covered because, as all of us know, media bias doesn't just exist in the way certain stories are covered. It exists in the decision about what stories matter and what stories are covered at all.
That this is really thorough research, and nobody's arguing that fact. So
that's our goal, Dan, because our credibility is our stock and trade, and if we don't have that, we don't have anything. People don't have to like our point of view on things, but as the old cliche goes, one is entitled to one's own opinion, but not to one's own facts. And so if we're able to all at least see the same facts, then we can go ahead to make our policy recommendations, at least based on the same baseline understanding of reality. You know, what's discouraging is that sometimes there's a disconnect between what people very often are saying and what the politicians hear. And, you know, one of the things that I would identify as one of the primary problems in our state is the disproportionate influence wielded by our dominant special interest, which is the government unions. And so you have a very powerful special interest. And I mean, for example, I would point out that until recently, the leader of the House of here has been actually an employee of a government union. And so you have the special interest that just has very disproportionate influence. And when you have a system that is that lopsided, it becomes very difficult for regular people, regular taxpayers, to be able to wield the same kind of influence as an organized, targeted special interest that exists simply on the backs of taxpayers, funded by taxpayer money, and based on taxpayer dollars. Mm-hmm. I mean, what was really remarkable this summer was that as you had small businesses struggling with the effects of a shutdown, mm-hmm. a lot of people who had not received a paycheck in months, you had this scheduled government employee pay increase that was supposed to go through. And even as everyone else was losing income and shut out of their jobs and really struggling to make ends meet, you had government workers getting a pay increase. It was just unbelievable. And, you know, even in New York, the pay increase was delayed. Even in California, the governor tried to delay the pay increase. In Hawaii, in very blue states, Virginia, you know, all of this was delayed. Not in Connecticut. The pay increase went through as scheduled. And it shows a certain level of disregard to ask people who have not worked in months to pay taxes so that people who haven't missed a paycheck can receive their second pay increase in 2 years. That's disproportionate, and that's not fair, and that should be reformed.
What's your aim? Do you have a campaign? Do you see tolls coming back?
No. Apparently, Governor Lamont has said he is not interested in any effort to institute tolls. Mm-hmm. But there is a regional gas tax that is being considered.
That one. Oh, my God.
And a 17-cent tax. And given that Connecticut's gas tax is one of the highest in the country, I think that's a regressive tax that hurts people a lot. And it makes everything we buy more expensive. It makes our groceries more expensive. Anything that's shipped over the roads, that would make it more expensive. And there's really no excuse to do that to people, especially now that so many people are struggling in the wake of the pandemic.
The research is right there. The facts are right there. You can go to yankeeinstitute.org and check it out.
Wow.
Carol, I want to thank you very much for coming on. You're one of my dear friends in this fight, and we fight side by side together. And I'm really looking forward to this session because I plan to be all over it. And we're going to just get this thing from every angle, and we're going to let the people know what's being done down there, that affordability in Connecticut is a nonpartisan issue.
It is. And we all need to have access to a lifestyle that is sustainable and affordable and fair for everyone in our state. And I'm grateful you're getting the word out with Unaffordable Connecticut. Mm-hmm. And I'd like to invite everyone to visit our website, yankeeinstitute.org. Follow us on Twitter at Yankee Institute and on Facebook, because all of us working together can bring the reform our state needs.
That sounds good to me. All right, Carol, thank you so much.
Great to be with you, Dan.
And we'll talk to you real soon.
You bet.
All right.
Well, another brainiac you found.
Wow, Carol went to Harvard.
Oh, well, there you have it. So, but you need some brains because the subject matter that they're trying to unravel is so complicated. And we're trying to get a handle on how to govern ourselves. And most people live day to day and they put little snippets of time into that subject. So you need some people who are concentrating on it. Carol is perfect.
Wow. I mean, what a powerhouse, huh? She's just all over it. And nothing gets by Carol. She is right out there speaking up every day. So go to yankeeinstitute.org. Well, it's that time, your favorite time of the show, where you got hoodwinked by Joe Petrina.
All right, here we go. Welcome to Costco versus Connecticut. This is, it wasn't so sad, it'd be funny. So let's start with this. 2 managers spend your money. Manager number 1, yourself. You run household expenditures. Manager number 2, government. It runs your tax expenditures. Which manager is doing good? My wife shops at Costco. Though she needs to drive a bit longer, the effort saves $1 here, $1 there. At night, the bedroom air conditioner is switched on, in the morning off. In the winter, we wear sweaters. Our next car will be electric. So, on the home front, we are super frugal. Manager number 1, my wife, does real well. Conversely, with government managers, being frugal has nothing to do with their mindset. Their whole world consists on trading favors. I'll back your program if you'll back mine. And us citizens, because we have no input into all of this, are instead, we have to shave dollars off our household budget just to keep up with the government. And after decades of this dynamic, government managers in my state of Connecticut have wrangled the highest property sales and income taxes out of us imaginable. They have made our lives unaffordable. And it's not just Connecticut. At the federal level, trillions are borrowed and trillions more printed, the so-called quantitative easing. T-shirts and milk may seem stable, but insurance, healthcare, education, and travel costs soar with this rising tide of inflation. And here's my wife saving $1 on a large Costco mixed nuts container. So legislatures, stop turning your backs on us. For more, please visit hoodwink.net. Thank you. Well,
another, some of these get depressing. I mean, they're very fun to watch, but each week we don't mean to bring you down further, but it's tough out there, right? And you guys know you're living it with us.
But knowledge is power.
It is.
It's one thing to be surrounded with some bad stuff, but when you don't see it clearly, it's even more frightening.
That's right.
We're trying to diffuse the complexity of these topics.
That's right. So join us at Unaffordable America, right there on the screen. And
leave your email address. Otherwise, we can't make contact with you.
So visit us on the web and follow us on social media.
But for now,
goodbye.
Well, I got me a guy named Johnny Be Good.
Ooh, yeah.
He ain't perfect, but he sure be good.
Ooh, yeah. Luckiest ones in America.